Come to order. We are here in the municipality of Oak Harbor for a hearing examination pursuant to the Oak Harbor Municipal Code. This was posted and you all responded to that posting and advertisement. I am Rajiv Majumdar. I am the pro tem hearing examiner for this matter. Today is November 5th. It is 11 o'clock. We are in Oak Harbor Municipal Hall. Are we on the record? Great. Because there are so many of you here, my practice is to put you all under oath now rather than swear you in each separately if you have comment to make. If all of you wishing to testify today and those expected to testify today, including city employees, would raise their right hand, that would be fantastic. Thank you. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? I do. Thank you all. On behalf of the city, does the staff have anything to correct about its report or any changes?
Thank you. I'm Ray Lindenberg, Associate Planner. I just wanted to point out a couple of things. We do stand by what's stated in the staff report. There is one minor correction to make. On page 2 of the staff report, a reference to OHMC 1908360 should be 1908860. And that is the definition of a skilled nursing facility. Also, I wanted to put up on the screen here the site plan for the actual project. This is the vicinity map that went out with the staff report. This is some additional information that we did, and now I can't get back to it. There it is. It shows where the proposed building and the parcel to be divided off for the parcel or for the project itself is in relation to the rest of that larger piece.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
That's all you have to add?
That is all I have to add, yes.
Thank you very much.
Sorry. You had additional public comment? Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, there were some public comment that did come in after our comment period, and I gave those to you. There are 4 that we printed out via email that came in the last few days here.
Great, thank you. And just for the record, I'll note that the staff report of the city included public comment from a Kristen Verbendridge, William Massengale, hard to read the signature actually. And 4 additional comments have come in since then, that of Jeffrey Mack, that of Shannon Williams, that of Amber Lee Cowan, and that of Ginger Varner. Who is here on behalf of the applicant? Could you please come to the podium, state your name?
So I'm Jim Walsh. I'm the architect.
What is your business address, sir?
It's 2106 Pacific Avenue, Tacoma, Washington.
Are there any factual errors or mistakes in the staff report?
No.
And you were previously sworn in when I swear everyone else
Yes.
in? Do you have anything else to add at this time?
Yeah, I just wanted to make some general comments. So this is a 10-bed facility. It's called a residential treatment facility. They're licensed by the Department of Health. They're designed to be located in communities because the programs are more successful, and then it's also there's greater access if it's located in a community setting. The building is designed to fit into the neighborhood. It's a wood frame with a gabled roof, fiber cement panels, siding. It has so there's an intake area. There's 6 single rooms, 2 double rooms. There's a great room, which is where most of the activity for the patients would occur, where they watch TV and do group and individual therapy. It has a serving kitchen, so food's prepared off-site, and then it's brought and it's reheated. There isn't a full-blown commercial kitchen there. There is an outdoor area, but it's fenced and screened. And the facility, it will be, anyway, access coming and going is very closely monitored in a facility like this. And then our intent is to apply for building permits in early 2019, bid it in the spring and start construction, and hope to open in the spring of 2020. So.
And you understand that one of the conditions the staff has recommended is that the conditional use permit must be acted on within 1 year of the date of granting if granted, otherwise it would expire and be null and void.
Yeah.
Very good. All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Walsh. Thank you. Now, did we have a sign-in sheet, or shall I take this in some kind of geographical order of seats? Thank you very much. Very good. If you would leave that back there and people could add their names onto it, and we'll check in at the end. Okay, let's start with Mr. Rick Chapman. Or did I say that correctly? Rick? Yep. Very good. Mr. Chapman, were you sworn when I swore everyone else in the room?
Yes, I was.
Very good. Could you please state your name and address, and then feel free to give your comment.
Rick Chapman, 1618 Southeast 8th Avenue in Oak Harbor. And when I read about this project, the biggest concern I have is why here? Because it's in the middle of a residential area. It's something that's going to serve Island, Skagit, and Whatcom counties, which the area that Island, Skagit, and Whatcom counties take up is probably the size of a small state. And people will come here from all three of those places. How do they get here? What happens when they get let out? How do they get back home? Do they get back home? And it just seems like the wrong place to put something like this, and there's property that's zoned for it. You could put it on a piece of property that's already zoned for it. Why get a conditional use permit on a piece of property in a residential area? It's beyond me. And so that's probably my biggest concern is why put it here? Why not put it somewhere where it's zoned? Why not put it somewhere where it's more central to the three counties that it's going to serve? It's not really a neighborhood. This isn't a neighborhood thing. This is a regional facility.
Thank you, Mr. Chapman.
You're welcome.
Lori Clark. You want off? Yeah. Great. Jim Walsh already spoke. Helen Hancock. Ms. Hancock, were you sworn in when I swore everyone else in?
Yes, I was.
Would you please state your name and address for the record and then give your comment?
Helen Hancock, 1927 Boone Road. I have to agree with Mr. Chapman. My husband and I have lived here for 12 years. We've seen a lot of changes in the area, particularly recently. And as Mr. Chapman also stated, we'll be taking in from a wide area. Why is this not, for example, located somewhere like Skagit County, which has a lot of land, has a hospital nearby? It would make much more sense to do that. I just feel that we're something of a cul-de-sac here. I mean, we're out of the way, and we're not just in line for these things. We've got Anacortes as well. We'll be sending people here. San Juan. Skagit, to me, is the obvious place to locate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Hancock. Jackie Henderson. Ms. Henderson, were you here when I swore everyone in?
Yes, I was.
Would you please be so kind as to state your name and address for the record and give your comment?
Yes, I'm Jackie Henderson. I live at, my address is P.O. Box 1233 in Coopville. I'm the Director of Island County Human Services. And I'd like to speak to some of the issues that I know that have been already raised and that will be raised here today. Number one, as far as that being a regional facility, there are already these facilities in other counties in our region, in Whatcom, in Skagit, and Snohomish County. And people from Island County have been going to those facilities for several years. And so it's part of the reason we're citing it here is that our people have been going off the island for many, many years. The vast majority of the people that come to the facility will be from Island County. It will be a 10-bed facility. It will be voluntary. People will not be allowed. I've heard about afraid it will attract all kinds of other people and hanging around the facility. That will not be allowed. When people come into the facility, they will be expected to participate in treatment of some kind, or they will not be allowed to stay there. I've also heard, how are people going to get there? How are they going to leave? In the other facilities around the region, the vast majority of people, family members bring them or friends bring them. Occasionally, it might be a treatment agency that brings them. It will not be the kind of thing where police will come or ambulances coming with sirens blaring and lights going on and off. And in fact, when people leave, like when we have people from Island County go to these other facilities, it's almost always family members or friends and or treatment providers that take them and pick them up. So it's not, there's not a high security risk. These are not necessarily, I know some people think, well, it's just the homeless that are going to be going there. The people that will be served in this facility could be your neighbors, they could be your relatives, they could be your friends. They're from all socioeconomic levels, from all parts of the community. There'll be staff 24 hours a day by professional staff. The average stay will be 3 to 5 days. And I just, again, want to remind people that just because someone has a mental illness or substance use disorder does not mean they're dangerous, does not mean that they just need some support. And this particular program is to provide that support when people need it. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Henderson. Betty Rodgers? Ms. Rodgers, were you sworn in?
I was.
If you please state your name and address for the record and give your comment. Thank you.
Elizabeth Rodgers, P.O. Box 1693, Oak Harbor, Washington. I would like to attest to what happened in my family. I have a son who was addicted to heroin for 7 years. He had to go off island to a detox facility, and then from there to an inpatient facility in Spokane, and then in Tacoma. I'm really grateful for these facilities. I know there's not enough. If somebody is wanting treatment and there's no bed, there's a small window when people are ready for treatment. I'm happy to say he's been clean and sober now for 4 years, thanks to a detox facility and an inpatient treatment, which this is not an inpatient treatment, but there will be detox services, I believe, at this facility. So I'm just saying I'm really grateful, and I don't want to be a not in my backyard person. I think it's important that we all support all the members of our communities. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Rodgers. Maria Ruiz? Suzie Franklin. Ms. Franklin, were you here when I swore everyone in?
Yes.
If you please state your name and address for the record and give your comment.
Suzie Franklin. I live at 65 West Whitby Avenue, but my son lives on Cordero Place, which is across the street from the facility proposed. And he asked me, he's out of state for right now, and he asked me to come in, and most of the things he asked me to ask about has already been brought up. But then a few more comments have added another question as to security. He's out of town a lot, and with people bringing their family members, bringing them in, if that's in an area where there's a lot of children, there's people are working day, night, and my concern is that with family people bringing them in, are they going to come and wait? What's the guarantee that we won't have any problems with somebody scoping out houses? And right now, I have to go over and watch his house. And I'm one of those, I don't particularly care about whether they have I know they need treatment, but that should be a better place, a more open area away from such close housing areas. Because, you know, no friends, oh yeah, they're there, but how long will they be there? And, oh, I'm gonna go and wait for them. Well, I'm gonna look at this, and I haven't seen anybody moving in back and forth in his house. My concern is the security for the people that are there, that live there across the street and in that area. And most of them are military. And I watch his house because he's not there. And it's like, so far, seemed to be a safe area, but we don't know what's going to be coming in the area after this is people bringing their family in. How long are they going to stay? Are they going to be sticking around watching, whatever like that? So my concern right now is the security of the homes that are there, and if the people would have, I know one family, when they heard about it, they already moved. So that would be my concern, is the safety and security of the homes that are there, because they're not fenced in. And so I would be concerned about that. And see, when he gets back to the States, he's going to be out of town again a lot. So that's my main concern now, since the other issues was why here? And in such a closed-in area is my concern, because I'm like, it'd make me have to stay overnight there just to be sure nobody's driving around watching and everything like that.
Thank you, Ms. Franklin. Troy Williams? Mr. Williams, were you here when I swore everyone in?
I was.
Very good. If you give your name and address and your comment.
Yeah, Troy Williams, 3090 Golf Course Road here on the island. So at this point, I'm hearing a lot about supporting an entity like this. And I think that most of us will agree that there probably is some type of issue in the community that maybe needs something like this. And the island itself, having an entity like this would be supportive for its people. But I think there's a little confusion here on why we're here today, and that is, you know, we're not here to necessarily say, okay, we agree or we don't agree whether or not we should help people. But we're here to say, is that particular plot of land the most appropriate place off the intent of the zoning within Oak Harbor that's already been established? Is that what that is for? And I would say no. I would say that giving allowance for a facility like that on that particular plot of land is not what the original intent when they established the zoning or for what it was for. I was on Google Maps last night, and I was also on the Island County website, the GIS maps, and I went ahead and did the stick line numbers, and within 5,000 feet, there are 4 schools, some of which are at 2,900 feet. 5,280 feet is a mile. We drive through there because we come out from the northwest part of the island there, just south of the Navy base. All kinds of kids, all kinds of residents all around. That is a residential area. And I think that ultimately we're attempting to bring a guise around this facility and make it something that's residential when in fact it's far from it. Everyone here has heard the law of unintended consequences, and usually when something like that comes up, it's about something that's been vetted, and then at the end, you're like, oh, wow, we didn't really see what was going to happen here. We didn't see all these other things that were going to be caused by it. In this case, the law of unintended consequences applies, but also it doesn't, because we know exactly what's going to happen when something like this comes in that area. There's going to be some issues that arise with regards to substance abuse, with regards to the homelessness and things that have already been mentioned that I think will be detrimental to our family and our children and our homes. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Williams. Marcus Troud?
I'm sorry, I have no comment.
Sure. Matt Webster. Webster? Ah, Webster. Mr. Webster, were you here when I swore everyone in?
Yes, I was.
Would you please state your name and address? And give
Matthew Webster, 1720 Northeast 9th Avenue in Oak Harbor. So no matter where the facility is, it's really needed. We can't keep ignoring that problem. I know that for a fact that, so I work at Sunrise Services, and we call all over Skagit and Snohomish. We've even gone as far as Yakima to find open beds to help people. And we really need something local. So we just started a SUD program recently, a little over a year ago. We've helped numerous people, but yeah, finding that open bed is near impossible. And having something closer to at least stabilize somebody would totally be helpful. Because once we identify the problem, I mean, we can't help them. I mean, you say, okay, there's a problem, and we either take them to the ER or another facility, but having something to at minimum stabilize them until we can get them to a residential bed or something for 30 to 60 days would be beneficial. All right, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Webster. And we had some more sign-ups, I think, or at least one more sign-up.
She wants to say his name and then she can have her.
The next, I can't do your hearing examiner.
That would be kind of you.
The next one on the list is Travis Markham.
Travis Marco. Were you here when I swore everyone in?
I was not.
Please approach the podium and raise your right hand. You swear to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Thank you. Could you state your name and address to the record and give your comment?
My name is Travis Markham. I live at 789 Southwest 14th Court. I'm a disabled veteran in town that was stationed here, and I love this town. We moved to South King County for a while when I was in school, and we moved back up here because it all got turned to crap with all the stuff that they were trying to do with all the homeless people. I personally got accosted in front of the Space Needle, and my wife was sexually assaulted there as well. I have no problem with people helping other people, but in a residential area near a school where we don't even allow any of the marijuana shops or bars within a certain feet, we can't allow this either. We're gonna overtax our police, we're gonna overtax all of our services doing this, and then when all the money runs out, where does the budget come from? Are there gonna be new taxes? I moved up here from King County to get away from the taxation, to throw more money at something that's just not working. We don't need to become another Seattle because we have our own culture here. We're different from Seattle. That's why I moved here. I'm from West Virginia originally, and one of these places was put in within half a block of where I lived, and the lady that lived next door to me was sexually assaulted, and all my stuff got stolen out of my apartment when I was out of town. I had drug abusers in my family, and they stole from me. They stole from my grandmother. They stole from their friends. There's going to be nothing stopping these people if they get out and decide that they don't want to change from going house to house hoping that they can take something else to fund their habit. Now, if Island County, it's here, and Skagit and Whatcom are coming to this too, are they contributing to the budget as well? They should at least be sharing the burden. I drive to Coopville every day, and I see big plots of land for sale every day, and I can't see why this facility can't be put on a plot of land out there that's away from a school at the very least. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Markham. Doug Langrove? Langrod. And you were here when I swore everyone in?
Yes, I
You were
was.
sworn in. Please state your name and address of the record and give your comment.
My name is Douglas Langrock. I'm a resident at 2746 Taylor Road, not in the city limits of Oak Harbor, but I lived in Oak Harbor. I've been on the island now for 28 years. Lived just a few blocks away from where this proposed facility is. And as to where it's located, I certainly understand folks that are concerned about living across the street from this facility, for example. And I think your points are well taken. From the standpoint, though, of the chief of staff-elect, the person who's been in charge of creating an opioid plan for the island, as a provider now for almost 30 years on the island, this problem exists everywhere. It existed in homes between where I lived on Columbia Drive and that facility. I could have walked through past 10 homes, and the police can tell you that, where people were dealing drugs, where they were using drugs. And the problem is that we're not dealing with the problem. There's 2 people in the state of Washington that die every day from prescription opioid use. We don't have enough buprenorphine prescribers. We don't have beds at Whidbey Health for this facility, for the care that these people need. There are facilities in Skagit County, in Snohomish County. We don't have one here, and so we've been shipping people off island. The vast majority of people that would use this facility would be your neighbors. And I think this is just part of something that we need to understand is here, and it's not going away. We need to get people off of opioids. We need to get them on buprenorphine so they don't use heroin. We've got a fentanyl issue that's coming from Canada that's going to be front page news in just a few years if we don't deal with this now. From what I'm seeing, that this facility is designed to blend into the neighborhood, and it's on a bus line. There's transportation for people to, often these people don't have their own vehicles. And so one of the options to put it out somewhere between here and Coopville, it might still be on the bus line, but it's not really residential. So, I can certainly understand for and against where to put this facility, but please understand that this facility is desperately needed. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Langrove. Langrock. I see it. Steve Verbarndese. Thank you.
It's a good try, though. My name is Steve Verbarndese.
Mr. Verbarndese, were you sworn in previously?
Yes.
Please state your name and address and give your comment.
My name is Steve Verbarndese. I live over at 6192 Campbell Lake Road in Anacortes, Washington. I'm the managing member for Oak Harbor One LLC. We own the 2+ acres of multifamily property on the northeast corner of 10th and Oak Harbor Road. We've been pursuing permits for a 37-unit multifamily development that the community desperately needs. Over the last couple of years, we've got a considerable expense and investment to date into the project. We've received most of the approvals and are trying to finalize the final approvals. It has been a difficult process, and it has not been without its challenges. We received a very short notice of the county's intent to pursue a conditional use permit for the mental health facility and detox facility. The permit that they're requesting in the current zoning, it doesn't allow for this use for a reason. In making our decisions to purchase and proceed with developing our property, we relied on the current zonings, the surrounding developments that already exist, including the rights and restrictions that accompany these zones. with these properties, ours included. Our property is surrounded by single-family residents, multifamily residents that already exist all the way around it, as well as a small park. I believe that putting a 24-hour detox mental health facility for 3 counties in the middle of these already existing zones would be an extremely poor decision and would be bad for the local community there. I don't believe it would be good for our project as well. I don't deny that this facility has a need and a use in the community, but to embed it in an existing residential community like this, I think it'd be a grave mistake. This belongs in a more commercialized permitted zone. They exist. There's even existing facilities around the local area that could be modified to accompany this. If this conditional use permit goes through, I don't think we'll continue to pursue our project. I think it would be absolutely detrimental, a multi-million-dollar project. I don't think I'm up for that gamble. I'd ask you to deny approval of this permit. Thank you.
Thank you. Krista Verburn-Massey? Were you sworn in previously?
No, I was not.
Please raise your right hand. You swear to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Please state your name and address for the record and give your comment.
Yes, my name is Krista Verbarnsey. I live at 6192 Campbell Lake Road in Anacortes. We received notice of this conditional use permit that goes in just literally across the street from property that we own and are trying to get permits approved for. We're 3/4 of the way through the project, or through that process, for 37 units, which we feel Oak Harbor is in desperate need of affordable housing. One of the things that we look at is that this type of 24-hour program, and the Whitby News-Times article wasn't clear. It looked like it was a long-term help and this and that, but the conditional use permit, the notice that was sent to me, was that this was a 24-hour detox program. This is where druggies and others come, they drop off their friends, and they leave them there. They detox, and whatever happens, happens. This is not good for this local community. We're surrounded on all 3 sides by multifamily, residential, retired people, Navy. This is not a good spot in this community. And I would like to point out that Skagit County just adopted with their comprehensive plan to move this type of facility out to the freeway zone. And that's where this type of thing should be put, out away from kids and communities and the park that's literally across the street. I think that the write-up in the Whitby News-Times was misleading. This is a 24-hour mental health facility for detox, and I don't feel that it's good at that location. In Skagit County, having the freeway zone, or in Island County, having zone right next to, say, Highway 20, they would have access to transit and other services so that they could get where they needed to go after. I think that's all I have to say. We would advise you, please, to deny this conditional use permit. It's not approved in this area. We purchased our property and pursued this project based on the zoning that it came with and based around the community at large. I mean, this is where we want to put multifamily. This is where we want other families, 37 of them, to come in and live and not be worried about their well-being and who's next door. Thank you.
Thank you. Handwriting's a little difficult on this one too, but it's Vivian.
Rodgers.
Very good. Thank you. Were you sworn in previously, Ms. Rodgers-Decker? Great. State your name and address for the record and give your comment.
My name is Vivian Rodgers-Decker. I live at 51 South Pheasant Run, Coopville. I am the homeless liaison and the foster care liaison for the Oak Harbor School District. In addition to that, I am the founder and director of Spin Cafe. I work with the population that all of you are alluding to, and I would encourage you strongly to support this permit. The reason I am going to say that, I also happen to be a military spouse. My husband is retired from the Navy here. I've lived here 28 years, and During that time, in the last 18 years, as the homeless liaison for both Coopville and Oak Harbor, I have repeatedly sent families, parents of children that I work with, off island to the Skagit Pioneer Services to take care of our problem. We consistently like to send our problem somewhere else. And the reality is, and Jackie already spoke to it earlier, we it's our time to step up and take care of the families in our community. You mentioned that the Navy is in this area. As a foster care liaison, what I will tell you is that the majority of removals happen on that site in that area. If you were to look at where foster youth are removed from their homes, it happens in that community. So if you don't think that there is a problem already occurring in your community, you need to get more informed. It's a serious issue. You talk about being in the Navy and having PTSD. We have a number of veterans here that live in our community who want to stay here and retire who have PTSD. PTSD is a mental health disorder. When a person with PTSD has a crisis, our option is to send that person off island somewhere else instead of serving them in their own community. You talk about people who have prescription addiction and need access to treatment. Our answer is to send people somewhere else instead of stepping up and taking care of it right here. This is what we need to have in our community instead of constantly sending our problems somewhere else. And this is an issue that is happening everywhere. In the community health improvement plan that was done by Island County, one of the number one things that we identified was a lack of access to care. We need access to care for our community. You're looking at the detox factor of it. I'm going to tell you that there's a lot of people in this community who do not have an addiction issue, but they have a mental health issue, and they can't get treatment. We send them to the hospital, and then when they're ready to go, and then the hospital releases them, and they're back out on the street, and when they're ready to go to treatment, there's no place to get them into because all the beds are full, because this is a problem that every county in Washington has. We are not alone, and we need to step up and do our part.
Thank you, Ms. Rodgers-Decker. Betsy Nieman. Ms. Nieman, were you sworn in previously?
Yes, I was.
Okay. State your name and address for the record and give your comment.
Hi, my name is Betsy Nieman. My address is Post Office Box 925, Coopville, Washington. I'm here today to speak out for this facility in the place that's been chosen for it because it's needed here in Island County. A couple years ago, I was the Island County Drug and Alcohol Treatment Coordinator. I spent lots of time before that being a chemical dependency counselor, and all I could ever do was call away from this area in order to get a place to send people who needed help because there were no services whatsoever on Whidbey Island. Slowly but surely, CD agencies and mental health agencies are becoming available. Right exactly where this is located, half a block away, is the Alcoholics Anonymous Clubhouse. I don't know if you guys know that. That's where a lot of people go to get support after they have become clean and sober, and people who have mental health services also go there. Right up the street, you've got Sunrise, you've got Compass, you've got Seymour Island Assessment. There are single providers available. You want to know where people are going to go after they go to this detox and stabilization unit. Well, there's intervention, there's stabilization, and then there's recovery. The organization that I represent is the Camino Whidbey Island Recovery Coalition. We are involved in trying to help people sustain long-term recovery, whether that be from drugs or alcohol or mental health. We have put together a nonprofit called Wrap Campus. We hope to be somewhere located on the rest of that property that's there, and if not, somewhere else in town. And I'd also like to read into the record from SAMHSA, which is the federal government that gives all the money for all these services. Recovery-oriented systems of care is a coordinated network of community-based services and supports that is person-centered and builds on the strengths and resilience of individuals, families, and communities to achieve abstinence and improve health, wellness, and quality of life for those with or at risk of alcohol and drug problems. We find these people on the street. When you drive out of Safeway, we find them on the corners. We find people all over the place who have mental health and substance abuse. Why not let's give them a recovery cafe like Seattle's done and like Portland has done and Vancouver and Walla Walla and Tacoma and Everett, and give them a place to take those new tools that they have learned and start practicing them and becoming part of our community. Let's help people get well.
Ms. Nieman?
Yes.
That SAMHSA you read from, is that a policy guideline of SAMHSA or a
Yes.
brochure, or do you have a citation to it or a copy that you can provide?
I can provide you a copy, yes. Would you like
want-
it?
Come on up.
Okay. I wrote on it. I can give you one that I have written on.
Well, I'll just note it for the record that you have written on this, and do you know where this comes from SAMHSA?
Yes, I do. You can look it up on their website.
It's on the SAMHSA website. All right.
Yes, it is.
Great. I have exhausted my list of people on the list who wish to make comment. Is there anyone here who did not make comment who wished to make comment? Please approach the podium. Were you sworn in previously?
I was.
Could you please state your name and address for the record?
Christine Cribb, 1999 Southeast 9th Avenue.
And because you didn't write it down, could you spell your name for the record?
Cribb, C-R-I-B-B, Christine, C-H-R-I-S-T-I-N-E.
Thank you very much.
I would just like to defend those that are representing housing in the economic standpoint of this facility being located and changing the zoning for this facility to be there when there's such a desperate need for workforce housing. I don't think anyone here says, not in my backyard. I think everyone believes that we need to take care of ours. I think the greatest concern is discouraging existing housing plans to coming into the community when it's been such a priority for so long. I hate to see a zoned area for residential go for something that's not residential right now. I think our economy is dependent on supplying workforce housing for this community, along with taking care of those that are in need. Absolutely. I think the concern is the location. Thank you.
Okay. Seeing no other volunteers, having existed the list, having taken the staff report as corrected by Mr. Lindenberg, having heard from Mr. Walsh on behalf of the applicant, having heard from the public in the form of numerous comments, having taken in one short exhibit, and the written comments that were submitted, a decision on this will be rendered in 2 weeks or less in a written form. I thank you all for your participation in municipal government and planning. Thank you. This session is closed.